motion? Councilmember Parshall?
Yes, I move that we confirm Joel Faber as PRCA Director for City of Lynnwood.
Thank you. Any comments, any discussion?
He's a second?
Oh,
I have a quick question.
I need a second.
He's a second.
If I second, will you ask a question?
I'll second.
Yes. Thank you, Nick. It's been moved and seconded. Would you like to speak to that motion, Councilmember Parshall?
Yeah, I want to take a moment and center this process back on interim director Faber. As a city council, we're asked not to choose the next parks director, but rather to ask ourselves, of these three finalists, who can do the job? The one person we know that can do the job for certain is Director Faber, because he's been doing it for nearly 8 months. I've toured the department with Joel Faber and his senior staff. My experience was the same as my tours with other veteran directors. I saw a well-run department dedicated to serving the people in the city of Lynnwood. I am not alone. We have heard from, via email from employees within the Parks Department. One long-tenured employee says that Joel has the core values to lead the department to success, and that the department is uniting under Joel's leadership. A second person writes of Joel's strengths, describing him as adaptable, honest, open-minded, a servant, and a good communicator. Another says, under Joel's leadership, our department has thrived, and we have not missed a beat since the previous director retired. His hands-on approach, along with his dedication to both our work lives and personal well-being, has made a remarkable difference. These employees are not alone. We've had 25 some Parks employees and former employees contact us to speak positively of Director Faber. The qualities that they talk about are qualities that I admire. It is my pleasure to vote yes for the one person that we absolutely know can do this job. Thank you.
Councilmember Binda?
Yes, I feel like this has been danced around, and I just want a solid answer on this because I'm tired of this being up in the air, because I think this is a huge indicator on what we can do for the city attorney. I have two questions. One, I guess my main question is, if we were to vote tonight whatsoever, and a majority, whatever, say they don't support, what, this can't, is it the mayor's choice? That's the mayor's choice no matter what. I haven't gotten a specific answer on that. It's been up in the air.
I'll try to answer that for you. The code doesn't say. The state law states that in a mayor form of government, which is organized in RCW 35A12, as opposed to 13, the mayor is the chief executive officer of the city, and she hires and fires the directors. However, Lynnwood took that a step further and said that the mayor's appointments will be confirmed by the council. But then it doesn't really say anything after that. It doesn't say anything about voting. It doesn't say anything about what happens if the appointee is not confirmed by the council. It's just silent. So then the question is, who decides and how is it decided?
And that's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
Because I think this implies my vote as well. How is this ultimately decided?
Well, and forgive me for the short civics lessons, but they're in Washington State, under the Constitution of the state of Washington, every state has one as well as the federal government. There are different types of cities. One is a city manager form where there's a council, no mayor other than an appointed mayor for your council meetings. And there's a city manager that is usually hired under a contract. And that manager runs the day-to-day operations of the city, including the hiring and firing. In a mayor form of government, that person is the mayor. It's an elected city manager, essentially, but an elected city official in the executive branch. So in the separation of powers, the mayor is in the executive branch, you all are in the legislative branch, and I do not belong to the judicial branch, believe it or not, but the executive branch. You are all my clients, however. Here, because the city decided at some point in the history of the city to add on a council confirmation without really a process other than what you've written in recently, which is getting to interview, getting to ask questions, things like that. If ultimately the mayor decided to appoint irrespective of your vote, and ultimately a court would have to decide who gets to make that decision, the court would look to what form of government you have. The third one is the charter. Seattle, Tacoma, Spokane, those have charters, also under the Constitution. Here, a court would say, well, there's a disagreement. Who ultimately gets to decide? Well, it's the American form of government. 090 says she appoints. The council decided to add this appendage about confirmation, but there's no real instruction there. I think the court would decide in favor of the mayor, because that's the type of government you have. That's the intent. If a fundamental attribute of American form of government is taken away, even with your code, then the question becomes, why do you have this form of government?
Thank you. I haven't gotten a clear answer until now. So I just really want to, because I think it was a situation where I felt like it could keep going back and forth no matter what. And so from your expertise and your knowledge, that's what you believe would be the process. Thank you.
Councilmember Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. This is complex. I've actually spent a lot of time reading the state ordinance and reading the local ordinances on this. So let's start with what the state says. The state says, RCW, no city council member shall be invited to nor participate in any administrative interview panel for candidate selection of appointed officials or employees. Now, I think when we hear that, we're all like, okay, that means you can't what? The problem is that the state doesn't define what an administrative interview panel is. It simply puts the words out there. It says you can't be involved in this activity, but it doesn't tell you what qualifies as that activity. So even at the state level, there's a lot of ambiguity here. Our Lynnwood Municipal Code states that the mayor will bring in candidate forward, and there is a confirmation process, and that the confirmation process has to be followed. Now, in the code, 2.06.020 confirmation process, etc., it says, provided that any interviews, questioning, or hearings before a majority of the members of the city council shall take place only in executive session. This is all that's spoken to in the Lynnwood Municipal Code around what this confirmation process is. The confirmation process, established by city council resolution, etc., is this: interviews, questioning, or hearings before a majority of the members of the city council and in executive session. That's the beginning and the end of the confirmation process. It also says post-confirmation process, the mayor will then make an appointment, but that is post the process. We as a council satisfied the process when we sat in executive session and we talked to multiple individuals that the mayor brought for us for a discussion. That was our opportunity to discuss. There's nothing in the municipal code, the Lynnwood Municipal Code, that says we get to vote, select, or even what it means to be part of the confirmation. There is no discussion around what the confirmation is. It doesn't even require that the council hold a confirmation vote. There's nothing in the law as it's written now that says the mayor's appointment is subject to confirmation by the council. No, the mayor's appointment is only subject to the confirmation process, and the confirmation process is only the interviews and the papers and those types of things that we had in executive session. It ends before a confirmation vote. What's unclear, and my apologies to previous council members, Councilmember Eichel, if you were involved in writing this a while back. Not picking on you, I have no idea who wrote this, my guess is it was a long time ago. The ordinance says the mayor, this is horrible grammar, I can't even understand what the English is. The mayor may make an appointment from the group of referred candidates to the council for a confirmation vote. What do the words may make an appointment to the council mean? In English, that doesn't mean anything. You can't appoint something to the council. You're not appointing a person, you just says they may, and it's even more complicated because it says they may. It never says shall or required or anything along those lines. It simply says may. I'm not sure what the mayor may be doing here because I don't know what may make an appointment to the council actually means. So here's where we're at. The city's in a bad spot. We've heard a lot about Joel from a lot of people. We've interviewed him, we've looked at his resumes. We've done the same for other individuals who have applied. I doubt that there is a consensus across the council around who the best individual for this role is, for this director role. I think Joel is a good or maybe even a great candidate. Do I think he's the best candidate? Well, that's hard to say. Does the council think he's the best candidate? That's hard to say also. If the council, and I'm just putting hypotheticals out there, if the council were to vote no, and the mayor were to appoint Joel anyway, what a horrible thing for our city. We would have a director of public recs and cultural arts that has gotten the stamp of disapproval from the city council, and that's going to live with that director as long as he's in that particular role. Not only that, but how demoralizing for the entire department who've come out and said, hey, great guy, we want him, he's going to do a fabulous job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the ability of the council to say no has largely been taken away because of the process. It would be a very bad idea to say no for the council to say, hey, we reject Joel, we're going to go with somebody else. But if the council comes back now because of this process and says, okay, we're going to go with Joel, why were we involved in the first place? What is the point of all of this drama we have had for how many months if we're just going to rubber stamp what the mayor's already doing, and if in fact the law doesn't require us to do anything, which is what my reading is. I think it's fair that I say Lisa and I had a conversation. I said, I don't think the law requires us to have a confirmation vote. Lisa, do you agree that in my reading, in my interpretation, the law does not say her appointment is subject to a confirmation vote, or that we even have a confirmation vote?
There's no discussion of a vote either in the RCWs or in.
Correct. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to say correct. That's the same way that I read it. The council has fulfilled its obligation. We held a confirmation process. We've done everything the law requires us to do. I think a vote, a confirmation from the vote from the council at this point is counterproductive, and I'm not sure what the right Robert's Rules action is, but I would like to move that the council not vote on this, not issue a confirmation vote, either yes or no, for this appointment.
So we're doing that in the form of an amendment to the original motion.
Is the amendment?
I think-
I'm asking for the original motion to be withdrawn from the council, and the person who made the motion is the one that can make that withdrawal.
Well, former Councilmember Smith is not here to berate me for this.
Wait, sorry. The council can suspend Robert's rules
You
if
can.
needed for
That's-
expediency. So
Yes.
I don't think there's a clear path for what we do here. My ask then is that Council President withdraw his motion for a confirmation vote. Oh, sorry. Councilmember Parshall withdraw his request for the council to issue a confirmation vote on this director position.
Okay, as the city attorney said, I can't do that. The motion belongs to the body.
Oh, well, former Councilmember Smith and I have always disagreed on that. I do believe you can withdraw a vote. And the Jurassic Parliament person agrees with that. Can't remember her name. Thank you.
Before we do that, would we like to hear from other council members? Councilmember Altamirano Crosby.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, this is very hard. As a Vice President of the City Council, I need to express some serious concerns about our current situation. The mayor has demonstrated a lack of transparency and has repeatedly tried to overstep her authority, even treating the City Council to get her way. While the mayor has the responsibility to recruit and select department directors, it is essential to remember that the council plays a critical role in confirming those appointments. The way the mayor is handling this process could set a troubling precedent, allowing here and future mayors to appoint anyone without proper oversight of adherence to established precedents. We have simply asked the mayor to follow the rules, but we continue to feel pressure. Recently, after interviewing candidates for the PRCA director position, the council have received emails from staff supporting interim director Joe and requesting that the council reconsider him. The council has not yet taken any action for or against interim director Joe. So the only reason staff believes this body should reconsider it is to infer that the mayor violated the confidentiality of the executive session and shared with him or others the results of the council deliberation. The Code of Ethics for Municipal Officials established by the Revised Code of Washington prohibits the disclosure of confidential information obtained by reason of the official's position, RCW 42.23.074. I also find suspicious that the staff are emailing us and now making public comments during this meeting, where they ordered to do so by the superiors, the mayor, interim director Joe. I just wonder, has the staff been intimidated, harassed, or pressured into doing so? It is concerning that the staff are now publicly supporting a candidate. Were they ordered to do so by the superiors? I don't know. So we must ask ourselves if any staff members have been pressured into these actions. Tonight, despite not having the votes to confirm the director, the mayor has organized this agenda to force a vote. As we consider confirming interim director Joe, I want to make clear that I vote no on this. Thank you.
Other council members want to make a comment? Councilmember Hurst.
Thank you. The comment by Councilor Decker and the city attorney talks about there's nothing in the LMC that requires a vote. But if you look at section 2.32.040, appointment and duties of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Director and other employees, it reads, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts shall be appointed by the mayor, subject to a city council confirmation process in chapter 2.06, which includes, but is not limited to, a majority vote of the city council. So the LMC does call out for a vote.
Sorry, where are you?
2.32.040. So, it has been noted, the city council does not become involved in this process until the mayor brings forward 3 candidates that are then interviewed by the council in executive session. Council members are asked to provide their opinion of the candidates after or during the executive session, but the decision is the mayor's responsibility. Now, the problem is that the current process for appointment of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Director has been a mess. In March, the mayor misled the council and the public by approving the March 18th council agenda for posting on the city website. The duly noticed agenda showed that the council would be interviewing candidates for the PRCA director position. The council never interviewed these candidates. 30 minutes before the start of the March 18th council meeting, the mayor informed council leadership that there would not be any interviews and that she had appointed Joel Faber as the interim parks director. Subsequently, the council has amended the LMC to limit the length of interim appointments. And on August 12th, the council voted to direct the mayor to reopen the confirmation process and bring forward 3 candidates for the PRCA director position. Why does the LMC have this process in place for appointing directors? The goal should always be to appoint the most qualified candidates, and I think that's why we have this process. In addition, our directors are hired at the city pay grade of 627, the highest grade. This means a city director can have a salary that is more than what the governor of Washington is paid. The residents of Lynnwood need to know that their tax dollars will be paying the salary of the director that was selected because that person was the best qualified candidate. I do believe this somewhat clunky process has the purpose of taking politics out of the appointments for directors of the city. By bringing forward 3 candidates, this mayor and any future mayor will not be accused of favoritism, cronyism, nepotism, and by having the city council be part of the process to advise and consent on appointments, the residents of Lynnwood can be assured that the best candidate will be selected. During the past few days, the city council has received emails and correspondence from present and past Parks employees. They're all positive and supportive of appointing Joel Faber. It is clear that Joel is admired and appreciated by his staff. Joel is a valuable, long-term employee of the city. and he is the type of individual that we want to keep. But based on the applications and interviews of the 3 candidates that we interviewed during the executive session, I cannot confirm him as the PRCA director. There was one superior candidate. I do believe Joel should be appointed as deputy director, and that the most qualified candidate that we interviewed should be appointed by the mayor. So as far as confirming Joel as director, I can support that.
Are there other, council members? Councilmember Decker?
For the record, I stand corrected. You are correct, 2.3, 2.04, which I did not read as there was no reference from the earlier code, does specify, it's interesting that it specifies here, it does not specify in the earlier section, but it does specify a confirmation vote. So it is the council's responsibility to vote on this.
All right, we go back to the maker of the motion. Do you want to say anything before a vote is taken?
I actually really appreciate Councilmember Decker's comments before we had a correction on what the LMC says. I do think that as a city council, the last thing we want to do is put our new Parshall director in a weakened position. I think the wisest thing for this council to do is give an affirmative vote to interim director in favor of this evening. Thank you.
More comments?
Yes.
Councilmember Decker?
Thank you, Councilmember Parshall. I share your concern. I think we share the same concern here. I think there is a third choice. A confirmation vote is required. A yes or no is not required. So council members who are uncomfortable voting for Joel can vote in a manner that's neither a yes or a no, and thereby we are neither undercutting nor supporting the actual position. That would be by council member abstaining from voting on this issue. So there is a third choice. This is not a binary yes or no. Each of the council members, if they're uncomfortable voting for or against this motion, they can abstain from voting.
All right. City clerk, will you do a roll call vote first?
Councilmember Binda.
I'm gonna abstain.
Councilmember Parshall.
Yes.
Councilmember Coelho.
No.
Councilmember Decker.
Abstain.
Council Vice President Altamirano Crosby.
No.
Councilmember Escamilla.
I'm sorry, no.
Council President Hurst.
No.
1 yes, 4 noes, and 2 abstentions. Noes have it.
All right. With that, we are at the end of the agenda. Is there any new business? Seeing none.